Character of the week. So, today's character week is Conan. Conan the Barbarian. Also known as Conan from Cimmeria, or Conan the Cimmerian. Robert E. Howard created Conan in the 1930s as part of a short story, novel, fantasy fiction, strange tale type storyline. He didn't reach Marvel Comics under the free market, free range type of character, such as like the reason why Thor and Hercules have Greek and Norse mythology, but they're also considered Marvel characters. Conan is made for war. Like, no, literally, he was born in a battle. His village from Cimmeria was being raided, and they were defending themselves. And in the midst of that battle, Conan was born. So he's battle born, battle ready, battle tested, battle approved. Born and raised in Cimmeria, he is a follower of Crom. His lineage of his father and grandfather, as far as being fierce warriors and leaders, he's part of that heritage. Even though he has a hulking 6'6" frame, brutish barbarian tendencies, he still is actually biggest misconception about him is his intelligence. He's highly intelligent. He speaks about several languages. He's traveled the world, so he knows like several cultures. He's a strategist. He is cunning. He's actually quite agile and stealthy, despite the fact that this guy's pretty much a giant. He became king of his village or the town Cimmeria. He's also been king of other places too, but he doesn't consider himself royalty. One of his more popular iterations, also the most woefully misconception version of him, is the 1980s classic films by Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, Conan the Barbarian. They depicted Conan as like a dim-witted or slow or sluggish or unintelligent version of himself. Mainly probably because Schwarzenegger couldn't act, and they probably confused a barbarian with a caveman. Not like it's a Geico commercial or anything. A plan so simple, Cimmerian can do it. Oddly enough, due to that popularity of those movies, though, it did eventually make its way into weekday afternoon cartoons. So they turned this rated R film into a PG-friendly cartoon. Conan the Adventurer. There was also a reboot several years later starring Jason Momoa as Conan, which, let's be real, is pretty much him just redoing his Game of Thrones character. But at least they hit the nail on the head as far as him being more intelligent than the previous iteration of him. Along with other comics, he's also been part of, like I said, Marvel, but he's also been part of Dark Horse Comics too. They had a run with Conan too. But since he is part of Marvel Comics, he's also part of the Marvel lore, especially going way back into pre-civilization times. Crom has battled or has a rivalry with Shuma-Gorath, so that puts him in league with the Celestials, stuff like that. Conan has battled the likes of, say, Thor and Wolverine somehow. That's also a thing. Oddly enough, Wolverine did end up in that particular timeline running away with Red Sonja, so he's got a thing for redheads. Conan the Barbarian. I would put him as a forefront or the most commonly used fantasy character or commonly thought of fantasy character, like I said, thanks to the 1980s mainstream adaptation of him. Just because I know this is going to make him upset, let's put a Conan versus He-Man battle in the comments section. Technically, that makes a Dolph Lundgren versus Arnold Schwarzenegger battle. Considering the history of Conan and how far back he goes in civilization times or pre-civilization times or recorded history, especially being part of Marvel lore, there's no record of him dying. I'm not saying he's immortal, but I am saying that no one knows where he is. Think about that. Back to you guys. Like, share, subscribe.